Okay, are we live? Okay, I think we're live. Folks out there, let me know how the video looks, let me know how the audio goes. But hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us here today for another round of workshop antics. This week we're going to be doing something a little bit special. There's a good friend of mine, Andi Heal, who's currently running his Clockwork Christmas Christmas Clockwork Christmas chocolate Clockwork orange specials. I can't remember which day we're on right now, but we're getting quite long. This particular live's probably going to run for about an hour and a half, kind of thing. So feel free to go and check out Andy's stuff. It'll make you laugh, bring a smile to your face. Links in the description. Please feel free, dash over, have a look at some of that stuff. Have some fun and a bit of a giggle. Before we kick off today, I'm just going to show you where we got to last week for the Baby Yoda. Just going to duck over to the sanding bench. Hopefully you guys can see this over here. So this is kind of where we wound up. So all the pieces all in place. So from our perspective, I don't know how that sits. I don't know how that's kind of setting into the picture there. You know. So hopefully, guys, this is you can see it now. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully hopefully that's not too bad. I'm kind of doing this a little bit blind, so I'm hoping it's in the frame. But yeah, that's kind of where we got to last week. I think it's turned out okay. What do you think? What do you think? Okay. However, this week we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm just going to head over back to the PC. Um, Gonna head back to the PC. So yeah, I've got a confession to make. This isn't the first time I've made something Clockwork Orangey themed because of Mr. Heal. We did one of these around in summer for Yandos sort of thing. This one's still got to make it. I've forgotten it twice. I think Andy's beginning to think I'm never going to give it to him. But anyway, so this was a Clockwork dib based on Invader Zim. But today's is going to be much more classically, hopefully that's in frame, much more classically Clockwork Orange, complete with a bowler hat, bit of a cane, and we'll see how this one works out. All right, so going to go over to the scrolling bench, start getting this sort of taped up, set up, ready to go, and drill some holes in this. Okay. So to get this kind of set up, one of the things we've got to do is I've got a black backer board that we'll use later on, so I'll just move that out of the way. But we're going to use some birch ply for the 6mm. Now, one of the problems I've found that when I order this stuff, you sometimes get I don't know if you can see that. You get where they've repaired problems in the original board and the original veneer, and they've put in these kind of patch pieces. Now those aren't the end of the world. It depends what you're making, but for what we're about to do, we kind of want to make sure we've got a good surface. So I've done a bit of hunting around in amongst the pile, got a good piece. I'm going to use this to get us going. As we go on to doing this, we've got the little, I think we'll call him the little Andy for the moment. The little Andy, and he's going to kind of sit something like that. Okay. What I use, as I've said before, is I use A4 laser labels, which means I can kind of just peel off the back. Don't need to trace them in. Kind of get them roughly where I want them to go. Sort of like that. Something like that, I think. Something like that, perhaps. Clockwork Viking, huh, Kuram? I think that's quite fun. Clockwork Andy. Should have put... No, I can't put horns on this. If I put horns on this guy's bowler hat, Andy would have killed me. He would have absolutely lost his crap about that. Anyway, so that's basically the pattern stuck down. Now, there's a couple of ways we're going to do this, but we're going to be left with the outside. So, as he says, needing something to point. I don't know why. I could use my finger. This area here, we're going to cut out first. So just like we did with the Baby Yoda week before, we're going to follow this outside line. Anything that's grey is getting cut out. Anything that's white, we're going to keep. Okay? So we need some holes. The great thing about this particular pattern, which I've had ready for about, I don't know, I think about 3 months, is we really only need 2 holes in it. So we probably need one somewhere around here, and we probably need one somewhere around here so that we can actually thread the blade through and get going. To do that, we're going to use a Dremel. The Dremel's just got a very fine, tiny drill bit on it. Obviously, because I'm paranoid, even though it's set to depth, we'll put it on a bit of a backer board and we'll just get it down. Now, it's a shame you guys can't see this, but we'll get it going. And we should see that those guys have come through at the back. Apparently the video is frozen. Change a different cam and then come back just to see if that's kind of caught up. Let's check. Everyone else getting buffering. Buffering isn't coming for us though, I think. And that's so important. Let's just check this camera. See if we can't bring it back. Just no, we're not. Cool. We should have hopefully just in a second we should have this back. Okay. Well, hopefully folks, you're all back. Should be back up. I think you can see the hand. So as I was saying last time, I don't know if the Dremel affected that or it was YouTube. Doesn't matter. We're back up. As I was saying, we've got our 2 holes through the back. We'll just punch these through just to make sure they're a bit easier to get to. And we'll move on from there. So we're going to put this on the scroll saw. So clear off the crap from earlier. So I think, so hi Debbie, hi David, hi Nick, hi Stace. Is that how that's supposed to come out? Or is it more like Stace? I don't know. It's kind of how I imagine it sounding whenever it appears on the screen. Let's have a quick look, see who's still here. Obviously, hi Kaz. A few other folks in. Good. Thank you for coming in. So we're over on the screen. So on the scroll saw now, so we're ready to go. We're gonna get this guy going, get a bit of speed. And we're gonna go around all the way around the outside like we said. As I said, feel free to go and check out Andi's Clockwork Orange over on AH Bespoke. The link's in the description. See what you guys think. Personally, every time I watch it, I burst out laughing. How's the video, folks? Can you guys see okay? Hi Gary, you've got a new gun, huh? Lining the shed. What are you doing? Putting in plasterboard or something? Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. So the outside surround here, we're going to spray orange. And we're probably going to leave most of the main figure just as wood, as bare birch ply, to try and get that kind of dirty white that the characters tended to have. They weren't sort of completely white. You know, the cod pieces were almost certainly not white. So we'll see how this goes with the final sort of deal. Hi, Huey. Debbie, maybe refresh. See how it works out for you. There was a problem earlier on, but that seems to have been cleared up. But is anyone else getting buffering problems? Well, you know what the difference is between the different seasons in Scotland, right? You know, it's the direction of the rain. You know, in the winter it comes from the In the winter it comes from the east. In the spring it comes straight down. In the summer it comes from any direction it feels like, but it's warmer. And then the autumn and winter it comes from the west. In the autumn it comes from the west, I should say. Awesome, thanks cuz. Hi Mike. You slept in? Where are you based, Mike? It is pretty early. Are you in Vancouver, Mike? Are you on the west coast of Canada or on the east? So, there's our guy. So there's our guy out. We've got a little bit in here we need to do something about. A couple of little raggies we'll get when we do some touch up, but pretty much we'll just get this little. So, let's go back to the bench, scrolling bench. And so we're sort of starting to see this is kind of the shape we're going to have. And if we were just to pop the guy down there, you kind of get an idea where we're headed. Now this particular piece, we'll have to do a complete outside cut, following this whole line all the way around. This is going to be a pain in the ass. And then we've got to go around again on the inside. Don't know if you can see that. What we'll have is a whole white line outline. Okay? But between now and then, we're going to go over to the one of the tools I use is this homemade tool. This is basically an emery board from my wife's nail stuff, stuck to a piece of dowel so that you can rub off anything that's quite dusty, anything you don't like the look of. Just get in there, clean them out. Any sort of jaggies or any little rough spots that you don't like the look of. You kind of get that. So what we're going to do, cool. So we're going to go over to the spray bench. We're going to go with the spray bench. So yeah, so here's our guy. I don't know if you guys can see that. So we're going to do him orange. So this back piece is going to be orange. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a quick spray. I'll turn on the vac. So sorry if it's too loud. So the first pass at this, we're expecting this to be, so the first, we'll do the first coat, and then we'll come back in a little bit, and we'll do another one. Okay. So yeah, all good. All right, we'll come back to the scroll saw. So we'll leave that over there to, oh, actually, I'll tell you what, why don't I? You kind of get an idea where we're going. A bit like this. So we're kind of get an idea where we're going with this orange, if that makes sense. Scroll, so back to scroll bench, guys. You kind of get an idea how this is going to look. Got a bit of work to do. So you can kind of see that color's a bit washed out, but you get the idea. Okay. And then we've got a bit more to do. Cool. Hi, Steve. Right. So back to this. We're going back to the scroll saw, and we're going to go around the outside of this guy again now, a couple of times. As I said earlier, absolutely feel free to go and check out It's a remarkably good question, Debbie. I've always assumed a fret saw was the handheld, and scroll saw is the mechanical one. But if anyone else wants to clear that up in the chat, that would be awesome. So, going to go back round our guy on the outside. What we're going to start with, though, is we're going to start down here in a little bit. Actually, no, I'll tell you what. We're going to start up here where I did last time. And the goal here is now to remove I suspect Karam may have visited Uncle Wikipedia. Yeah. So I'm not just going to cut this piece out just yet. Provide stability to the rest of the work we're doing, so we'll kind of leave it there for a minute while we're kind of pressing on around the outside. As I said earlier, folks, go over while we're doing this, go over and check out Andy's channel, catch up on some of his Christmas Clockwork Orange stuff. They're absolutely hilarious. We'll be here for a while, so pop out, pop back, and have some fun over on Andy's channel. They make me laugh every time I go over there. I still my favorite still is Pork Life, though. Not Park Life, Pork Life. So go over, rumble around on Andy's channel, find Pork Life, and have a laugh. And then head back over here and we'll see where we're at. So can you guys hear the dust collection behind me? Is it too loud? So cool. So there's a couple of high spots on this, just on this piece. So with a flat emery board, we'll just rub them down. Okay. All right, Andy. See you later. Okay. So, as I said before, the piece that we're interested in on this guy is the white edge. All of this is waste, all of this is waste, all of that's waste. So you kind of get an idea that we're kind of looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces, plus this very big outside ring. Now we just kind of did that. What we were after is kind of this offcut. So we're going to create something that looks a bit like this, that'll frame the character. So before I do that, we're going to just jump over to the spray bench, see how that orange surround's looking. It's getting there. Let's get a bit more on this to be kind of get this guy looking alright. There's a few dirty marks on this, but we'll see how that goes in a minute. Okay, so back at the scroll bench, it's kind of how the character's starting to shape up. You can see him, he's quite bleached out, but you can see the guy kind of here. Cool. Alright, I'm going to take a quick... how many layers do I plan to have on this one? I think this is really probably going to turn out to be one layer, but I do everything in set, so you kind of get a scenario where it's kind of looking a bit like, we're kind of something like this guy, if that makes sense. We're kind of starting to see that. Does that kind of give you an idea? So it's going to be one layer, but we're going to cut him out, we're going to frame him up, and he'll start to look pretty cool. Does that make sense, Mike? Get a little bit more. That orange will need another little touch up before I set it down for the bulk of the run, but I think it'll be alright. Cool. Any questions? Any other questions before I stop and have a beer from Molten Make? Very kindly sent me one. Just pause for a moment. Charles! Awesome. Charles Deering's in the chat, folks. Charles is the man when it comes to scroll saw. He's responsible for thousands of patterns online. Check out Charles. Charles is doing lives every day. If you're into scroll saw, check out some of his stuff. Charles did Lightning McQueen, Buzz Lightyear, and Woody. I think Charles has done his own Baby Yoda. Different style, but nonetheless. Charles, it's not Dr. Pepper for me, my friend. It's got to be some homemade beer from a friend of mine down in Guildford. Right. Back to the scroll saw. Cool. So so we're just threading him up for his next piece. So on this, what we're going to do is we're going to start cutting him out very, very carefully. Thinking about this, I might change tack. Just as I've said that, I think we'll take out one of the pieces down here. So down here we have this little piece that we want to kind of free up. So we'll get him released from here. So if you guys remember from my beard invasion, I've got a 2 kilowatt or 3 horsepower CAMVAC running. It's running right now. It's got a filter in front of it, but right now what it's doing is it's pulling all the sawdust and all the, in this case, the spray paint dust out of the air, keeping the air inside here clean and fresh while I'm working the machine. It means you can work relatively mask free, but not always, but relatively mask free as we're doing many of the things. Right now, there's a very slight downward draw on this scroll saw, not a lot, because I've found if I turn it on too much, what happens is it actually interferes with my ability to use the scroll saw. It grabs at the pieces, which makes it a little troublesome. That said, it's not really that big a deal when I've got it going. So that's our first piece, final piece done. So we're back onto this guy. So we've cleared that piece out. You can start to see the outline, but we're going to take this out all the way around, and then we're going to have these other pieces after we're left with that. So the first task is to take out a good surround here that we're going to do. As you saw me doing earlier on before I changed my mind, we'll just slip this in there. And we'll see how we get on. Alright, let's have a quick look at the chat. Lots of chats about aircon, all good. Grasp, gotta be Dr. Pepper, about time I caught you live. Absolutely, Charles. Normally I would agree with you, sir, but it's Sunday afternoon. It's gotta be beer o'clock here. 3 p.m. Gotta be beer o'clock. Mind you, for the next one, I'm going to make sure I've got Dr. Pepper in honor of the maybe sugar-free Dr. Pepper though, which might defeat the purpose. As far as we can tell, the connection's pretty good. Connection's pretty good, guys. Could be YouTube playing up. Might be worthwhile giving it a refresh, but we're, according to the scroll saw panel, according to the YouTube connection panel, we're rock solid. So depends on the piece of work, Charles. Rarely would be my answer. It really just depends on what I'm doing. I've got that comfortable using flats. I rarely find a need to do it. But if I was doing huge pieces of work, like you do, and then absolutely it'd be all about the spiral. But for these small pieces where I'm looking for fine lines, I tend just to stay on a number 1 Pegas modified geometry. Just imagine you're in the UK, Charles. It's absolutely beer o'clock over here. Just pretend you've flicked time zone. Have enough beer, and most of us don't care what time it is. Sorry, I mean Dr. Pepper. Remember, folks, pop over to see Andy's channel. Try and catch some of his Christmas chocolate Clockwork orange. And check out some of the other stuff he's done throughout the year. As I said earlier, I'm a big fan of the Pork Life episode he did, which was really the first one I saw, and had me laughing all the way through. If you've never seen Andi Heal's work, go check that out too, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. I need to turn that cam back off here. We're just being a bit grabby on the piece. Once you're off those painkillers, Nick, you'll be able to enjoy yourself a little bit. Charles, I admire your teetotalness. I wish it's something I could hold on to. I've tried dry January and all of these things, but eventually I arrive at the conclusion that it's not really worth it for me. I can't be bothered. But I admire the ability to have resisted it all this time. That said, James does make some awesome beer down in Guildford at Molten Make. You know what I mean? Go check out his channel. They do some good stuff. He is absolute. Andy! What about root beer, Charles? Does root beer work? My wife's quite partial to root beer. Dandelion and burdock works too. Dandelion and burdock's awesome. Sorry to hear that, Nick. Let's hope they get this sorted out. So, folks, of those folks that have been over to see Andy's channel, what's your favorite episode so far from the Clockwork Orange series? Cause I thought you were a whiskey man. Oh. Hashtag Team Scroll Sawing Vikings. So this outer rim piece will need a tiny bit of cleaning up. There's a couple of bits where I'm not going to be happy with it, I just know it. But, so here's our guy, all of this grey's got to go. Here's our outer rim. There's a few pieces which I'll very carefully sand down later, but they'll do for the moment while we're going through. There's a couple of bits I'm not happy with, which really actually it's not bad. It's just really this one or two bits here that I'll soften the edges on. So what we're going to do is go over to the scroll bench just a minute and we'll start getting an idea of where our guy's going. So that's sort of where we're going. Does that start to make sense, folks? Okay. I'm going to assume we're all keeping on top of this particular run. I prefer drinking the blood of my enemies. Yes. From the skulls, I would imagine, Andy. From the skulls. I thought my stuff was fragile. Yeah, mate, that one's special. That one's gonna need a bit of that one's gonna need a bit of fiddling. Right. So back on the scroll saw, we're gonna start cutting some of this other stuff out now. Okay, so like I said before, most of this goes. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple of bold cuts. We're going to do a couple of bold cuts to get rid of some of this stuff. We don't need this. It's quite fun with this little thing down here, but we don't need it. We don't need all of this. All of this can go, all of that can go, all of that can go, all of that and all of that and all of that. So I'm going to cut out and we're going to start building up the character and the inside of the frame piece by piece. All right? Everyone got this? Splendid. How far are we? How long have we been running for? Cool, we're doing all right then. So let's cut little Andy's head off, shall we? Off with his head. Cool. So we're going to continue to just cut bits off of this. We've got a bit more, we can do a bit more now. A bit more aggressive on this side. We'll have that little bit there to see what I mean. We've got that little entry point there. But if we give him a quick rub, gone, more or less. Better doing it while I remember. So, again, we're going to come through this top part. Free it up a little bit. Bit of a bowler hat. Anyone? Anyone want a bowler hat? Don't need that. Okay. So we're going to start cutting out what is his eyes first. Ping! There's one of the eyes. Andy, I hope you've got your bowler hat on when you're watching this. I mean, you need to have your bowler hat on. Cool. Oh, I've spammed everybody with Team Scrolls, so Charles, trust me on this. What I haven't done yet is talked about the chat show of keeping it quiet until we've kind of got it going. Why don't so? There's a bit of work to do on this yet, folks. But we're planning a podcast for Team Scrollsaw in the new year. On the show will be Charles Deering, the one and only Charles Deering, the one and only Jamie Page. We'll have Julie Martinez. We'll have Wesley Balco, I think, and an occasional suspect such as myself hanging around with people that know what they're doing. So watch out for that in the new year. And everyone knows now, Charles. It might be a laugh. It's got all these characters either getting excited or horrified at the idea of a chat show based on awesome scroll saw and awesome wood art. So this just won't be, like pictures. It'll be anything done with scroll saw or any scroll saw wood art. So we'll see amazing stuff from the scroll saw scribbler. We'll see stuff from Sata over on Instagram where he makes all the trucks with the scroll saw. We'll see some really amazing stuff from Nick. Oh heck, I forgot Nick Green, who does all the dioramas with the scroll saw. We'll see other. Oh, the list goes on with some amazing clocks that are hand cut that fully work, and some really awesome people out there. And of course, oh, it's going to be hilarious. Somewhere along there, Charles, I'm going to wind up sounding like you, and you're going to wind up sounding like me. You'll wind up sounding like Scotty from Star Trek. Ah, the scroll saw can't take it, Captain. So you and I will wind up sounding like a Canadian Scotsman, or pretends Canadian Scotsman. You know, I wind up sounding like Boss Hogg, and you wind up sounding like Scotty from Star Trek. Come on here, boy. You don't want to be turning that scroll saw around that way. You want to be using a spiral blade on that, boy. I'm going to have to watch a whole heap of Smokey and the Bandit. No, he was bloody Canadian. Scotty from Star Trek was Canadian, pretending to be a Scotsman. Is it? Lessons required. No, he's not. He's not. Okay. let's go back to the scroll bench so you guys can get an idea where we're headed now. That way I can have a bit of beer. So you can kind of see where the guys, you can see where the character's going a little bit. You know, what do we think, folks? Kind of see where he's kind of coming to life. Like I say, there's a load of little bits and pieces around the edges here, but we'll get them when I clean up at the end. Cool. All right, back on the scroll saw, and we'll get some more of them brought to life. Nope. Should have got shot. Imagine if they'd got Sean. Imagine they'd got Sean Connery for Scotty in Star Trek. That would have been hilarious. Well, Captain, Captain, the engines can't take it. Well, Mr. Yep. That will be awesome. So I think you mean William Shatner, or is it the pretend Captain Kirk that they put into the remade movies? Although to be fair, you know, there's a bit of a couple of bits here. It's a little bit of a thing. We will come back to that guy. Con! Mm-hmm. This scroll saw is very difficult. What do you think, Spock? I can't do a William Shatner. Someone else can do one. Actually, to be fair, Charles, I thought your Yoda today was pretty cool. Your impression of Yoda was bob on. Bye, Debbie. Awesome. Awesome. Next Generation was awful. Next Generation was all fluffy wuffy until about season 3 when they introduced the Borg. At that point, it was okay for a while. Then it went all a bit kind of tame. All a bit. Voyager was a bit better. Deep Space Nine was pretty cool. To be fair, I thought Simon Pegg's Scotty was pretty cool. Picard. Problem is I only see the problem is I only see Picard as Gurney from Dune. I can't really see when I see Picard, I see Gurney from Dune, which he did before Star Trek. So it's hard for me for you to agree with you guys. Well, Wheaton was a bit shit. Jonathan Frakes was a laugh though. Yes. Did you know, folks, that the actress who played Catherine Janeway once did a pilot for a show called Mrs. Columbo, where she played the wife of Detective Columbo. It wasn't picked up by the studios after it, because I don't know about you, but Captain Janeway being the wife of Detective Columbo just doesn't quite add up somehow in my head. All right. Find your Dr. Pepper. I'll have a beer while you're doing that. Let me go to the scroll bench a minute, and we'll start putting some of these components in now. I think while we're waiting for Charles to find his Dr. Pepper. Honest, it's an excuse. So we're just getting him kind of organized here. Sorry, I think this might be the wrong way around. Get him organized. There we go. Yeah, but she's a lady of her years, so let's leave her be. When her age you reach, look as good you will not. I've got to get him just sitting right. Go back to. So there's a big secret hiding in all of this, which I'll show you guys at the end. So I'm going to grab a bit. So we're going to back. So what do you think? Start to see him coming to life? Kate Mulgrew, yes. All right, back to the scroll saw, and we'll press on. Oh, I can't do a Yoda impression. Lucas, no, I can't do it. Not as good. No, I just can't do it. Yours was awesome. You actually sounded like him. My wife says I could probably do a baby Yoda impression, and that's about it. Due to the fact he practically doesn't speak, and we're assuming it's a he, so I don't know if you can tell the difference in whatever a Yoda is. So if you're looking for a good show, try and catch The Mandalorian if you can, if you've got Disney Plus. Premium removes the logo, folks. It also lets you have more people taking part. Gives you access to the support team and a bunch of other sort of thing. But the main one is it takes away the StreamYard duck, I think it is, in the corner of the screen. Okay, so Huey, you're going to go and have a lie down in a dark room. I can already hear the lust in your voice as you say 7 of 9. You'll be pleased to hear she's back in Picard when the series launches in the new year. I don't know how much she's in it, but the actress is back in playing 7 of 9 in the new series of Picard in the new year. That might be alright. Baby Yoda is in The Mandalorian. He's not, as far as I'm aware, in the movie. Seven of Nine is in the new series of Picard, which starts in the new year. And at the moment, you can hear you being far too into your memory of 7 of 9, Huey. I should, Jerry Ryan, that's the lady's name. Everyone's calling him Baby Yoda, Nick. If you watch, though, I tend to refer to him as the little Jedi. Because you're absolutely right. We don't know. Don't know. We will discover, I'm sure, as the series continues. Was the competition brought to your attention by a Nigerian prince? Andy. The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Congratulations then, Andy. Hopefully, let's hope it's something nice. And not a baby doll nightie or something that you didn't actually ask for. Mm-hmm. Cool. So I reckon, folks, we're about 10 minutes from finishing up the cut. There or thereabouts. Yes, Charles, I stand up to scroll. So I'm the reverse. If I sit down for too long, I wind up with a sore back. So standing and scroll. I think JP does the same thing. I think we both stand up. And Wayne, have you hashtag blame Berkey at Wayne this time? Gotta be beer, Charles. Okay. We come to do this pit. I'm going to put in a makeshift. A makeshift. How would I describe it? A makeshift zero clearance. Canadians are pretty strange. So we're going to do a temporary. We're going to do a temporary zero clearance piece for this. So all that tape's for is to stop this tiny piece disappearing off. Now I'm going to turn the speed down, not because we need it from the point of view of accuracy, but what happens is when it's something this small, it has a tendency to want to go pinging off into the distance. So slowing it down means that I can have some control over where the little bugger goes. See? So what we'll do is we'll just gently get this guy out of there. This tiny little piece. See it? If you guys can see it. And I use my dentist tool. Cool. You know. But it's not... American bacon is weird though. It's kind of all hard and... Hey Sparky, how are you, mate? Remember folks, if you're just fresh to the channel, we're cutting the Clockwork Andy today. If you haven't been over to Andi Heal's my backside, channel, check out some of his Christmas Clockwork Orange series. Make sure you subscribe, and if you really like what the man's doing, make sure you like all that stuff too. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. So, nearly done with the cut. And then we're going to go take this guy over to the coloring bench and we're going to try something really cool. See how it shows up on camera. No. We've got a couple of little cuts to do first. And then we'll start the layup on this guy. Gotta watch a game, man. Is it the Cowboys? Who are the Cowboys playing, mate? So yeah. So it's all magic, sir. It's all magic. Cowboys. Who are they playing? Oh. A guy that helped me build my house is a big Cowboys fan. Okay, so that's us cut all the pieces. We're going to change over to the coloring bench. And I'll see you guys there in a minute. Cool. Okay. So, so, we are where we are now. Now for me to get a bit of an idea again. So we're going to start piecing this guy together. So we've kind of got his shorts down here. We've got a few other bits and pieces we have to slot into place, which is here, and then we've got his braces start to get locked in. So braces go in here. I need a couple of bits. So a couple of bits here. See, I turn this over using these because I've got big fat fingers. And we'll just get them lined up. So we've got this guy slots in there. Yeah, it should be a good game. You can only see my head, guys. I'll get my head out of the way in a minute. Just give me a second. We've got your shop is not horrid, Charles. There's a little bit more to this rig than the basic setup I advised Andi on. But fundamentally, Andy's correct. So we're just wrapping the. Mhm. Yeah, but you've got that awesome sign behind your interview desk. I mean, how big is that? How big is that sign, Charles? That you cut in the scroll saw? Okay, we have one little tiny piece to go in. This is, like I said, it's a dry mock-up. We're not going to do the whole glue and stick today, but we'll get the idea. Of course, you can still see my head a lot. I'll get it out of the way in a second. You know, that guy there, when he's sanded and glued down, will stand into place. So that's kind of him so far. Oh, good lord. No, so it's really the logo behind it. So let's just try this for a second, I think. We'll see how this one works out. Okay, so I've just got a little tweak to make up here, which you guys won't be able to see, but that's okay. So this is just got a little bit of tweaking to do above off camera. Oh, let's just try this for a second. We'll see how this goes. All right. So I'm not sure how this is going to show up on the camera, but how's that? Okay, so what we've got is we've got some black light shining on it. Is that, how's that? How's that, guys? Different? So it's got to get a bit of a frame. Alexa, turn on workshop lights. Yeah, so it's really lit up. So yeah, that's kind of today's run. So I'm going to head back to the PC bench just for a second, catch up with all you guys, see what's going on in the chat. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Like I say, he'll need a little bit of the fuzzies shaved off him. Need a bit of the fuzzies shaved off him. Need a little bit of gluing and stuff kind of thing. Get them into place. Might do a little bit of a resin infill, just to give them that sort of, give it a little bit of shine in the middle. Don't know. Maybe we'll do something with some blacklight stuff. Thanks, Dale. My Alexa just tried to turn off the workshop lights. Ha 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 ha. Awesome. Well, let's just try this in. Alexa, what time is it? See how many people's houses are all lit up doing stuff. Cool. Right. That's about it for today, boys and girls. As I said, today's beer was brought to you by the letters M and M and by the gentleman James. From Andy's perspective, Andy, I'm going to finish this up, get it framed, and if I don't bump into you in person, I will ship it to you. I also just want to make sure, I think this is for Cuz's benefit. Cuz, see, we have a Jaffa Cake stash, here in the workshop. And that's about it. Guys, girls, and anyone else that needs some time to decide, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to have you all the way through it. Hopefully it won't make you wasn't too boring. And at the final piece, I'll put up some pictures in the next hour, so you guys can have a look at the little guy himself. All right, boys, girls, thank you so much. Bye.